This is lecture number 23, right? So we have started the topic that is basically phase transformation topic, right? Because in the previous lecture we have seen that the liquid will become solid. That is the one kind of phase transformation. That is basically, since we are metallurgists, we are dealing with metals and alloys, right? And so, as we remember that during the metal extraction we get liquid metal, basically, and finally we make liquid alloy out of that, right? Then this liquid alloy need to be solidified to give a particular shape. That is called, what is that? Casting, very good. Casting and solidification. So finally we will get an ingot or casting, right? Then we process it further to get our desired products. Like we can roll it, we can force it, we can extrude it, and finally get plates, coils, and mechanical working. Very good, you remember. So today's topic is phase transformation. So phase transformation means, in metallurgy, basically the state of metal. Basically we consider three states of metal: solid, liquid, and gas, right? So the state of metal are one phase. Maybe in the coming lecture I will be talking about what is a phase. I think Dinesh sir I have covered. He was telling me that he has covered something about phase and all, right? Phase rule, right? So he might have talked about what is a phase. I'll talk about that. So state of metals are nothing but one phase, right? Suppose I am talking about H2O. H2O is a compound. H2O can be remain in ice form, which is a solid. It can be remain in the vapor form, that is the gas phase of H2O, right? And it can remain in liquid form, right? So better to say H2O, not to say suppose, anyway, but basically we prefer to say H2O, right? Because H2O can remain in liquid form, solid form, or gaseous form. So these are one phases, right? Suppose I will take a ice and I will put it into water. They are mechanically separable to one another easily. You can separate ice from the water, right? And they are physically distinct, right? Yes or no? Obviously they are physically distinct. Ice is looking different, but water is looking different, right? But chemically they are not different exactly. But still they are different phases because they are physically distinct and mechanically separate. Okay, anyways, so now the topic is phase transformation. This color is visible, please note. So here it means changing state or changing crystal structure.
Then what is the difference between state and phase?
State means, see, in metallurgy we basically define phase means it is something which is physically distinct, mechanically separable, and chemically homogeneous. Right? So just I have given an example of water and ice. Water is physically distinct from the ice, right? Water is homogeneous, right? And water is also mechanically separable from the ice. So both are different phases. So that is the definition of phase. State means that is one state. That means it remains in liquid, it may remain in solid, it may remain in gas. You understand? So that is the state of the metal. So I have written this one. See, what is phase transformation? You will get this from change in state. Change in state means liquid, solid, and gas. We can give this three kind of state. If one state is changing from another state, that is a phase transformation. Phase change means phase transformation is happening, right? Similarly, change in crystal structure. How many of you remember the example of change in crystal structure? FCC, BCC. Take an example. I want an example from you. Best example of tin. Right? Tin shows different crystal structure at room temperature and below your 13.2 degrees centigrade, right? Cubic, diamond cubic, and the one is tetragonal. Body center tetragonal. So fine. So now I would like to write the examples here. This is, for example, solid to liquid. Similarly, opposite. Fine. This is one of the example. So solid to liquid means this is melting, and liquid to solid. This is freezing, right? Or you are saying solidification, no problem. Then similarly, liquid will transform into gas, and gas will transform into liquid again. So this is what exactly? Liquid will be becoming gas means vaporization, and gas to liquid means condensation. So these are phase transformation section. Fine. Similarly, solid will become gas directly. Sublimation. And gas will become solid. That is deposition. So these are the examples of phase transformations. So here you can see phase transformation means the state is changing. That's all. State of matter is changing, right? One form to another, and reverse. But we are basically concerned with this one. Sorry. We'll discuss about this one. Already we have started the topic, right? Solidification in the previous lecture, and we will also discuss about this one. This is again important. Change in crystal structure. Right? Suppose I am writing here alpha iron becomes gamma iron, right? Or gamma iron becomes alpha iron. So they are changing the crystal structure, right? The crystal structure of alpha iron is body center cubic, right? And gamma iron is FCC. So you can see there is a change in crystal structure. But the thing is what? Both are solid. You have to remember, these are solid, right? Alpha iron is solid, gamma iron is also solid, but they have different crystal structure. So if substances are like metals or alloys are in solid state, and due to change in temperature or pressure, both or one, if there is a change in crystal structure is happening, that is also a phase transformation. His state is not getting changed, state is fixed, solid, right? But the structure is changing. This is very important, right? So, a lot of examples I have given you, like in case of cobalt. Cobalt is HCP, but when you take it to above 450 degrees centigrade, it becomes FCC. Very good, you remember that. So these are the examples. So this is I am writing. Basically, this is solid state phase transformation. This is solid state phase transformation, and these are changing state. Okay. So now this is done, and okay, let me write some other examples. Very good examples. In steel, I am writing that. In steel, basically, the austenite may transform into, suppose, pearlite. It may transform into martensite. It may transform into granite. Or it may be simply transformed into ferrite, for example. Ferrite. So all these, see, in case of steel is one of the interesting engineering materials available, right? The most used material in like day-to-day life is which one? The most used material, concrete. The most used material, because you are living in a concrete room right now, obviously. Lot of buildings are there. Everything is made of concrete at time. But that may be reinforced concrete, right? We are reinforcing what? Steels. Right? This one is a reinforced concrete. Because steel bars are there with the concrete, right? So concrete is the most used material. But after that, steel comes. So we cannot imagine a world without steel. A beautiful world cannot be made without steel, right? Steel is there, that's why we are developing, right? And steel is one of the interesting metal. Why? Oh, sorry, it is an alloy basically, alloy of iron. Why it is interesting? Because of this only. Because of this.
Austenite.
Because of phase transformation. No, because these are the phase transformations. This is solid, this is solid, this is solid. This is one. This is a mixture of phase. I will discuss later. This is a mixture of phase. And this is a phase only. Okay, I am not writing this is mixture of phase, and this is also a mixture of phase. And this is single phase. This is single phase. So that means in the steel we have austenite phase, for example. This is actually what? FCC. Austenite is FCC, phase centered cubic. But that particular FCC, steel or iron, may be transformed into different crystal structures, right? So this is perlite, means this is a mixture of phase. I think Malla ma'am has started about iron carbon diagram in the lab. No? Okay, fine. So you have a good idea on that. No? So, okay, fine. So this is a mixture of phase, means actually this is a mixture of alpha plus Fe3C. This is very interesting. The austenite was FCC, but it has transformed into mixture of phase. And it is containing two things, alpha and Fe3C. Alpha is what? BCC, but Fe3C is orthorhombic. You understood my point? Initial crystal structure was FCC, but due to phase transformation, in solid state phase transformation, it became a mixture of phase and having BCC structure and orthorhombic. So crystal structure has changed. So this is also a solid state phase transformation. Similarly, martensite. Martensite is BCT basically. It may be BCT or it may be BCC, or some case it may be HCP martensite. Basically, the martensite we are seeing day to day life, that is BCT or BCC basically BCT, body centered tetragonal. So initially it was FCC, phase centered cubic. So due to phase transformation, it has become body centered tetragonal or body centered cubic. So it is also a change in phase, a phase transformation, right? Similarly, benite. Benite is also a mixture of phase. It is also a mixture of phase. So you understand steel is very important, that's it, right? Because property of this one will be different from the property of this one. You remember in the earlier classes, if you change the crystal structure, you can change the property, right? That's why we are studying this physical metallurgy at the end. Physical metallurgy means we will be talking about properties and how properties is changing. The property will change if you change the structure basically. It may be microstructure or it may be the crystal structure, which I am talking about right now, right? So I will give you a piece of steel. You can do lot of phase transformation to get different properties. A single steel with same composition, but property will be different. Somewhere you will get very high hardness, sometimes you get very softness, right? For example, ferrite. Ferrite will give you very softness. So this is, when it is a mixture of phase, it is also containing alpha and Fe3C, carbides. Alpha is BCC, taken out from it, and ferrite is only BCC. Okay? And martensite is very hard, very hard. It was soft, but when it becomes martensite, it will become very hard. Right? These are the structures present in the steels, and this can be done by a process called, I am writing here, heat treatment. This is called heat treatment process. So there is a technique called heat treatment. Heat treatment means you will take the metal or alloy to a high temperature, then you cool it, and you will change the structure. And when the structure will change, you can change the properties. Very interesting.
Sir, are these phase transformation reversible?
Yes. That means, see, These kind of transformations are reversible. Suppose you have transformed austenite phase to martensite just by quenching. Quenching means you are taking the steel to a very high temperature, it becomes austenite. But the moment you put it into the water suddenly, it becomes martensite. Right? Again, we can do what? Again, you heat it to a very high temperature. Again, it will become austenite. So this is a reversible phase transformation.
If we are having pearlite, so can we move into martensite?
You can convert to martensite. That is the interesting part of metallurgy. Suppose your initial microstructure is very good question, right? Suppose you have a steel and the initial microstructure is pearlite one. Pearlite means mixture of phase. Alpha will be there and Fe3C will be there. Alpha is a soft phase, but Fe3C is a very hard and brittle phase. It is a combination of hard and soft. It will give you good toughness. That means, right? But if you want very high hardness value, do what? Just heat the steel to the austenitizing temperature. You take the steel to a very high temperature and you just quench it into the water. It will, the pearlite become martensite. That is why steel is important, right? So we can play with steel like this. We can heat it, cool it, we can modify the structure, we can get the different properties. So I think phase transformation you understood. So phase transformation is basically reversible process. Like this can be reversed, that can be also reversed. Okay. T, you remember. Below 13.2 it is something. Again if you heat the tin to a high temperature, it becomes again different crystal structure. Again you cool it will become different crystal structure, right? It is reversible. So phase transformations are basically reversible processes. Anyway. I think after this it is clear, right? What is a phase transformation and examples. And all these are, you have to remember, solid state phase transformation. We are not heating the steel to melting point, right? You can interrupt me, no problem. If you have any questions, you can ask me. For phase transformations. See, something is changing from one form to another. So, obviously, there will be a driving force which will drive the thing, right? Like you are studying here, right? Your driving force is you want to get a job at the end. At the end of the graduation, you want to get placed somewhere. That is a driving force. More you want to place in a good company, more you read out, more you attend the class sincerely. Right? So that is a driving force. So for the phase transformation also, there is a driving force. Without driving force, the phase transformation will not happen. And I am absolutely sure about that. You might know about this from the thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is the most important subject in metallurgy, right? Because if you appear GATE examination, the most of the question will be from thermodynamics, then from physical metallurgy and mechanical metallurgy. Okay, fine. Driving force, right? So driving force. Okay, fine. I am writing an example here. Suppose gamma phase transform into alpha phase, for example. Gamma phase transform into alpha phase, right? So this is solid and this is also solid, for example. But crystal structure of this one is different from crystal structure of this one. You understand my point? Gamma transform into alpha or alpha may transform into gamma, right? So now the question is, why gamma phase will transform into alpha phase? That is the question, right? So the question is, the answer lies behind the driving force. Something is driving. That's why it is becoming different, right? So that is, I can write Z gamma and Z alpha. What is Z?
Gives
free energy. Gives free energy. So without G, thermodynamics is existence of thermodynamics will be not there, right? Tiny piece of metal and I will put it into the environment. What will happen to the metal? It will corrode. In general people say corrode, but that is technically called corrosion, right? So why it is getting corroded?
So environment.
Formation of oxides will be there. That means it was initially metal. That is the element, right? But when you put it into the environment, it decreases its free energy. That's why it is becoming oxide. Oxide is more stable. More stable means free energy is less. Obviously, You should remember this point, right? Okay, I am writing otherwise. Less free energy, more stability. Okay, fine. That means low G, more stable, and that will exist if everything in the world, everything in the universe want to get stable, right? So they try to acquire less G. Okay. So can anybody tell me then what is the driving force? Change in free energy. That's all. Delta G, right? So driving force is delta G. So delta G here what I should write? Delta G is equal to G, right? G alpha minus G gamma. Free energy of alpha phase minus free energy of gamma phase, and that should be what? What should be the magnitude? It should be negative. Negative. Right? That means the free energy of gamma was higher and free energy of alpha was lower. That's why it reduces its structure or change. There is a change in phase. That's why it can reduce the free energy. Right? Alpha was having initially alpha means it is having higher free energy, but this is having lower free energy. That's why it is converting into this. And if you remember, free energy is a what? It depends upon temperature. See, as I told, if you take the steel to a high temperature, it will become automatically austenite. Why austenite is forming? Because austenite having lower free energy at high temperature, right? But again, you cool it, for example, it will convert into alpha, for example, ferrite. That means ferrite have lower free energy at low temperature. You understand my point now? So free energy is also dependent on temperature. At what temperature you are keeping the metal or alloy, and at that temperature, that particular material has certain free energy, right? It is okay, I think.
Yes, sir.
So delta G is nothing but the change in free energy. So that is product minus reactant. So product phase minus reactant phase, right? And it should be what? Less than or negative.
So this implies this is spontaneous reaction.
This is spontaneous. Do you agree? This is spontaneous reaction. You have studied thermodynamics. Sir might have completed 2 modules right now. I'm not sure about that, but still I'm assuming. Is it a spontaneous process? You have no idea about spontaneous. Spontaneous process means which will occur automatically. But you are changing the temperature. You are changing the temperature. It is not occurring automatically. But if I keep a piece of metal in the environment, which is an element, it will automatically become oxide. You are not changing any temperature or something, right? It is okay. That is a spontaneous process. If I will put water on the tank and I will open the tank, the water will automatically come to the bottom of your house, right? So that is spontaneous process. The process which occurs automatically. It is okay anyway. So the conclusion of this one is the change in the free energy is the driving force, right? The one crystal structure will become another crystal structure if there will be a difference in free energy. So I am simply writing driving force is delta G, which is nothing but the difference in free energy. Difference in free energy. Right? So driving force is nothing but the difference in free energy, right? Okay, this point is clear, I think. Similarly, suppose you understand. I am writing here solid. Can I erase this one? I am writing solid. Okay, fine. I am writing liquid. And become solid. Solidification. Solidification, which is nothing but physics. This is also a phase transformation, right? So a liquid want to become solid. Why? Because free energy of the solid is less, free energy of the liquid is high. But that depends upon temperature. This is a piece of chalk, for example. If I take it to a very high temperature, it will become liquid. That means it is more stable, or liquid have low free energy. You understood? This is the room temperature. Room temperature chalk is solid, right? So that means at this temperature, the solid have high stability, or in other way, the solid have lower free energy. Understand? So free energy is always dependent on temperature. If you change the temperature, the free energy may change, and that phase will come into existence which have lower free energy. It is okay? Fine. So now I can write G liquid minus G G solid minus G liquid, right? Okay? For this one. And similarly, delta G is equal to what? G solid minus G liquid. It is okay? For solidification or freezing? Sorry, this is solid and this is sorry. It is okay now?
Yes.
On the next, I will show you how free energy is changed with respect to temperature. And I will take the example of solid and liquid phase. And things will be clear right now. Now, this one is free energy of liquid and solid with respect to temperature. Right. So now I would like to draw a plot. So that plot will be in y-axis I will take the free energy, in the x-axis I will take the temperature. I think Dinesh sir have covered the Elingham diagram, right?
No, sir.
Okay, he will start. Anyway, that's the most important part. So Elingham diagram it has been covered in the UP, I guess. And this one is free energy. So you have to remember, whenever you want to show any stability, right? You want to show any stability of any compound, any metal or any element or any substance, then this is the plot. Free energy with respect to temperature. As I told, because free energy is not fixed. Free energy is completely dependent on temperature. That's why you have to draw this plot. Free energy versus temperature. But here I would like to draw free energy versus temperature for solid as well as liquid. It may be the substance is same. It may be H2O, it may be any metal, it may be an alloy, anything, right? And this kind of questions will be asked basically in the Viva voice. This is the plot. Let me see who can guess which line or which curve is for liquid and which curve is for solid. Let me see. It starts from 0 for example. It starts with 0 degree centigrade and it will be higher temperature. Suppose 0 degree centigrade temperature. And temperature is increasing. This temperature is increasing and free energy is increasing. Free energy is increasing in this direction. Temperature is also increasing in this direction. Okay, how many of you are saying this yellow line? I am writing here, this is for solid. And this one is? Can you justify that? Why you have answered that one? One, not give one word. Is what? Just have a look. Just carefully have a look. I want to find out the free energy at a particular temperature, then I can compare, right? Suppose initially the temperature is this one, this temperature. So free energy of solid will be this much, and free energy of liquid will be this much. Okay, fine. Then I want to rise the temperature slowly. What is happening? Just have a look. Initially at low temperature, the free energy of solid was less. But the free energy of liquid was very high. Just compare. Temperature is fixed, right? That is why in the room temperature we have solids basically. You understand? Because the free energy of solid is less at the room temperature conditions. Now you will do a high temperature. So what will happen? Can anybody figure it out what is happening at high temperature?
Liquid is
There is
converted.
a changing state of phase, right? That is this one. Okay. That means this will happen at a particular temperature. Can anybody tell me what is the temperature? Melting temperature, right? You are hitting the metal, for example, slowly, then a temperature will come melting point. At melting point, the solid will become liquid, right? Actually, basically, just above the melting point it happens. Not exactly melting point, just above the melting point. So that means, if you want to find out the free energy of liquid and solid both at melting point, what will be the answer? He is saying something. Anybody want to speak? The free energy of solid and liquid at melting point. Just have a look.
Zero.
Just look at the diagram. Temperature is fixed and G is this much. And that is same. That is same. The free energy of solid and free energy of liquid is same at Tm, at melting point. You have to write all these things, huh? So at melting point, free energy of solid, I can write at melting point, free energy of solid is equal to free energy of liquid. Right? Similarly, below melting point, what is happening? Below melting point means the temperature is this one. So free energy of solid is less, free energy of liquid is more. Right? Free energy of solid is less than free energy of liquid. Yes or no? Right? And just above the melting point or above the melting point, what is happening?
Energy of solid
Above melting point, then what I should write? Free energy of solid
greater than
than
liquid.
it is okay now? So that is why the solid metals become liquid above melting point. Why? Above melting point, the solid metal become liquid. Because above melting point, free energy of liquid is less. It is more stable. Right? Lower is the free energy, more is the stability. And the thing which is stable, it will remain at that temperature. Shall I repeat or you people have understood? Yes? Fine. So the simple way to say is what? Below melting point, the free energy of solid is less than that of liquid. That's why solid remains below melting point. And above melting point, since the free energy of liquid is less than solid, so liquid will remain. So that means free energy is completely dependent on temperature. You change the temperature, the free energy changes, and the thing which is stable will remain. It is okay? Fine. So finally, if I want to write the driving force, then what will be the driving force? Already I have written that. Suppose you want to convert solid into liquid, then it will be free energy of liquid minus free energy of solid. You want to convert liquid into solid, so free energy of solid minus free energy of liquid. That is the driving force, right? So I can write for solidification. For solidification, driving force is for solidification driving force will be G solid minus V liquid, right? Because liquid is becoming solid, product minus reactant. It is okay. If from the melting point, if I will go in this direction, to the low temperature, can anybody see what is happening? Again, my question was, if you move towards temperature, low temperature from the melting point, what is happening? Difference between the free energy is increasing, right? Because you can see, this was the gap, right? This was the gap, and this was the more gap, and finally this was, and finally this was, right? So these are the corresponding temperatures, right? That means from the melting point, if you go to the lower temperature, the gap is increasing, free energy gap. So if free energy gap will be increased, then that means you have more driving force. The things will be easy, or the phase transformation will be easy if more driving force will be available. You understood my point? Suppose a metal has a melting point of 30 degrees centigrade, right? Just imagine a condition. you have any kind of metal whose melting point is 30 degree, imaginary metal anyways, huh? And initially the metal was at suppose 100 degree centigrade, right? And suddenly I take the metal from 100 degree centigrade to 10 degree and to 1 degree. So in which case the solidification will be fast or more favorable? When I move from 100 to 1 degree, you understood my point? Because there is a more distance between the free energy of solid and liquid. So higher is the driving force, more easy the things, or more easy the phase transformation. You can write this statement if you want. Higher is the driving force, easy will be the phase transformation. The driving force, more easy will be the phase transformation. Right? And this statement also you can write. If you go below the melting point, the difference in free energy is increasing. Difference in free energy increases when we are moving forward. Similarly, in this direction also, just have a look. In right direction, this is also increasing. Just have a look. It is okay. In this side also, right? That means in this direction, the solid will quickly become liquid. If you go to a high temperature, right? But in this direction, if you go to a very low temperature, liquid will become solid quickly because of availability of this driving force. Is it okay? Okay, I will stop right now. You have any questions? You can ask me.